Hi, my name is Alexis, and this is my part 2 of my movies and psychological disorders assignment. So, the movie that I picked was Girl Interrupted, and the disorder that I chose was, or is borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder in the movie is described as someone who is promiscuous, someone who can't really have relationships with others, that attempts suicide, unhappy. That is the symptoms that are described in the movie. In one of the books that I read, it's the big book of borderline personality disorder. It was also explained with the suicide attempt, in the relationships, not really having many relationships with others. The symptoms in the movie and the book are the same. With that said, I don't believe that Susanna Kayson's character, or Winona Ryder's character, Susanna, had those symptoms. In the beginning of the movie, she was shown as someone that was kind of like a loner, and they show her attempt suicide. And I feel like when you're graduating high school, you're kind of figuring yourself out. You're kind of a weirdo. You don't really know what you really love or what you want to be. You just don't really know. That's the time when you're like, okay, I'm going to figure myself out. This is what's going to happen. And so I just think with the symptoms, they're similar, but I don't believe they're completely the same. The causal, so in the movie, they talk about when she first gets into when she first goes to the mental institution, they talk about why she's there. Or she gets to the mental institution, she has her tour, she's there for a few days, and they're figuring out what she has or what's wrong with her. So the parents come and they talk about what they have diagnosed for her, and Susanna herself doesn't even know why she's there. She just thinks she's there for just a few days and she's going to go home and everything's going to be great. So when they're talking about the causes of why she is the way she is, they're talking about how when she was little, the mom was changing her diaper and she fell off the bed. And that could have caused borderline personality disorder. And then she was hurt and they still took her to LA, and that traumatized her, so she has borderline personality disorder. And that's when Susanna's finding out, okay, like what is that B thing? She doesn't really know what's going on, and that's when they tell her that she has a borderline personality disorder. When they give her that diagnosis, I feel like everything changes. She's like, okay, I have something wrong with me. I have a disorder. I'm supposed to be here, but doesn't really understand why she's there. So I think that's when everything starts to change in her character. The treatment that they used in the movie for her, well, obviously she was in a mental institution, so she had other people to talk to, so she had counseling, she had therapy, and she also had medication. Along with that, she was working with other people, like talking to the other girls and kind of figuring herself out in that situation. What's crazy about What's crazy about the whole, is there a cure for this disorder? Is there not a cure? Is it something that happens forever? Is it a life sentence? What is it? In the movie, they say it's something she can work on and then she can go home. And in the end of the movie, it was like, she's clear, she's in great health, she can go home. So from watching the movie, it was like, okay, she doesn't have it anymore. She is in good standings, everything's great. That's what I got from the end of the movie, of what, like, if it's curable, and they give her the medications and all that. So at the end of the movie, she talks to the therapist and she's like, yeah, I'm getting along with everyone really well. I'm not on medication. I sleep through the night. So it's like, okay, well, she doesn't need medication. She's getting along with people. She's not having suicidal thoughts. She's just in a better place. So it's like, okay, she's gone. And it's kind of like, even with my observation and kind of what it said at the end, it was kind of like, okay, she's in good health. It's gone. She's going home. So with the book, one of the books that I read, the Big Book of Personality Disorders, it was saying that it isn't curable. It's not a life sentence. It will last forever. There is treatment, but it doesn't end. So with the movie, I don't think that was portrayed correctly, because when you have a disorder, or certain disorders don't ever go away. And I think, agreeing with the book, she's not, if she actually has it, I think that she will never be if she actually has it, she will always have it. It's just how she copes with it, how she deals with it, how she interacts with other people in that sense. So in the movie, Susanna is graduating high school. So I want to assume she's 17, 18 years old. And as I said before, it's something you've just graduated high school. You're just starting to figure out, okay, I'm an adult now. I'm gonna start, do I go to college? Do I not go to college? Do I get a job? What's going on? And I feel like with the symptoms that Susanna was actually having, was kind of like growing into adulthood situations. It wasn't necessarily a disorder. Yes, in the movie, she had slept with a married man's husband, and I don't think that's right. That's horrible. But I think you're so like, okay, I'm this, I'm that, I'm an adult now. I can just kind of do whatever I want, kind of deal. Like, that's what I got from that. Like, she didn't exactly know what she was doing. It just kind of happened. And it was another one of the symptoms of saying that you're promiscuous. That wasn't said in the book, but in the movie, it was saying that you're a promiscuous person. And I feel like at that age, and not that I was like that, or I know a bunch of people like that, but I feel like at that age, you kind of explore. So you explore with sex and exploring with other people. And I think that in the movie, she had sex with 2 people. Does that make her promiscuous? Does that make her a person that's just a young adult trying to figure out what like, what just learning about growing up and all that, and making decisions? I mean, the guy that she was with in the movie is going to leave into the army, and she had that choice to leave. She could have escaped, but she felt that she was a part of where she had to be. She felt that there was a reason why she needed to be in that institution at that time. And I think at that point she was like, okay, kind of figuring more about what's going on. And I feel like she was in this institution for a year. And I feel like within a year you can learn more about yourself. You start to grow. And I feel like with that situation of her being cured, it wasn't I think it wasn't a notion of being cured. It was her kind of finding out more about herself and what she's interested in, what she wants to do when she grows up. At the end of the movie, they ask her, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or what kind of job do you want? And she was like, oh, I want to be a writer. And I feel like that situation of going into that mental institution helped her grow and find out what she wanted to do when she grew up. In the movie, there are other characters that have different disorders, diseases. Her main friend has is sociopath, and I feel like with being around these people, she's like learned, okay, like there are a lot of different type of people that are here. There's people with eating disorders. There are people that have crazy, like, one of the girls is just really going through it with her dad and finding out that she's been molested by her dad, and her dad's using her to, well, if you want this. She ends up getting an apartment, ends up killing herself, and just like looking at all these characters, yeah, it's a movie about a mental institution. Is having a disorder an amazing thing? No. There are different levels of, how extreme they are. But watching the movie of these friendships that are created, it kind of, to me, sounds like, oh, well, they're just friends and they're just having a great time with each other. And you see there's bad days and there's good days. And as the time goes on, I mean, it doesn't make it like an amazing place to be. But during the movie, when they're creating their friendships and stuff, it makes it look like, oh, like this is kind of cool. Like you can learn about yourself, learn about your relationships. Everyone has a disorder kind of thing. I mean, if I'm not really don't really want to interact with people, I have suicidal thoughts. I mean, okay, I have borderline personality disorder, and I can go there and I can have a great time and meet all these people. That's what it kind of shows, I feel like, at a point. I mean, this is Hollywood. They got to make it entertaining. They got to make it fun. So as time goes on, obviously with Brittany Murphy's character and her, having those issues with her dad and getting her own place, and she ends up killing herself. It's like, whoa, obviously there was something wrong with her. This could happen. It's pretty insane. Like that obviously wasn't shedding a light on it. I mean, that part was just, really sad. But I feel like a lot of it was just kind of like, it's relatable. And even Whoopi says, like, this place is just kind of like a 5-star hotel or something like that. It's somewhere, that's just the girls kind of get to do what they want. They get to go watch TV. All of them hang out in the TV room most of the time. They can do arts and crafts. Like, obviously that's not a place everyone wants to be or anyone wants to be, but it kind of makes it like, oh, well, this is all it is. They get to go in and out of their rooms. They can sleep in if they want, because it kind of shows that. And working at a senior home, if even the reality of the senior home and watching that movie kind of makes that mental institution in the movie look better to stay at than staying at the senior care home, even though it's awesome. I mean, you can kind of live by your rules in that senior home, but it just makes it look that much better. Obviously, because it's the movie. Movies are all that. And also the impact that Susanna had on these girls. I mean, they're hanging out. They have different disorders, different emotions, and some of them get really sad about something like I think her name was Polly. Her face was burned, and they called her Torch as a nickname, and she got really upset and sad, and Susanna remembered she wanted to play music, and Susanna went out of her way and played music for her and made her feel good about herself. And I think she was just kind of realizing, like, okay, I'm here. I'm here, might as well help others. And I think she was impacted with helping others kind of cope and deal with whatever going on, listening, just being a great friend as much as she could. I mean, not leaving them when she could have escaped. She could have escaped with that guy, but she didn't. So, and also, I think it was nice for the other girls, the patients, to have someone to talk to that was kind of more like understanding of what they have, instead of talking to like a nurse or a counselor or a therapist, whoever was around, that it seemed like it was someone that was like kind of on their level. So it made them kind of understand, and that's what built those friendships as well. And I feel like borderline personality disorder, I've seen like 9 symptoms. If you have 5 of the 9, you must have borderline personality disorder. But I feel like also with the teen book that I read, I think it's like teens with and it's like teens and multiple personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. It's borderline personality disorder and adolescence. It says in this book that the symptoms of borderline personality and adolescence do coincide. So I'm a teenager. I'm not feeling so great about my life. My parents didn't let me put makeup on that day or whatnot. It's like, and then they're like, okay, I just want to kill myself because I didn't get what I wanted, or just they always say no. And I feel like they are similar. Is it always okay you're diagnosed? I don't think so. I mean, in the movie, as Susanna's in this institution, at first she thinks she's there for a couple days, and she's like, you know what, I'm realizing I'm not gonna go home soon. I'm gonna have to be here for a while. Now I'm diagnosed. She starts to spend time with these other girls, and it's kind of like, okay, when you're around certain people, you kind of get used to them, so then you kind of start acting like those people. Like, you're around positive people, you're more likely to be positive. If you're around negative people, and I feel like as she was staying there, she was kind of like, well, I'm not going home soon, and she's kind of taking these like other other actions, excuse me, of the other patients, and she starts acting like, what is going on in this place, and she starts talking to the nurses the way the other ones are. She's just gone downhill. And then when she kind of realizes, wait, like, I'm not here for the same reason as this person, that's when things start to change, and she starts to get better. And then they start to do, then she starts to go on her journey home, and she starts helping all the others with whatever they need. And so at the end of the movie, she talks about she doesn't really know why she was there. Is it something that, was it just a dream? Like, did this all actually happen? Did I waste my time? Did she waste her time? I don't know. I mean, she ended up finding out what she wanted to do. She kind of grew up a little bit. It helped her grow up, and I think that was a good thing. Yeah.